City volunteers distribute emergency cash in the aftermath of flooding in Fujian, China. We'll look at how solar panel industry has affected the habitat for leopard cats. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Siri Su. Thank you for joining us. In mid-September, heavy rain has led to floods in Nanjing County of Fujian, China. City volunteers have traveled to Zhangkeng village to distribute supplies and emergency cash to 3 affected households. Among the 8 recipients is a grandma who said that city volunteers care for her like family.
这里山区海拔是400多米，据村干部说，走进来的慈善机构是很少。也希望说准备的这些生活物资能够给这个困难的家庭度过这个困难的阶段。
Visiting Grandma Xiao again, volunteers have brought more than 10 daily supplies, including some cotton-padded jackets to her.
You care about me. You have brought me food and clothes. They are brand new.
Holding Tzu Chi monthly magazine, volunteers introduced Tzu Chi to the seniors. Grandma Xiao has something to tell Dharma Master Zheng Yan.
Master, you are so kind-hearted. In the year 2020, you care about my suffering. So, I'm able to have a good life this year. I've received your supplies, including clothing, food, and supplies. I have never bought soup before.
补助还没有到位的时候，那志工也很希望。
Before receiving the government's subsidies, volunteers hope to send them the daily supplies and financial aid they need. This way, they can get through the tough times.
度过这几个月的那个困难的阶段。
Having been through flood, the affected residents are facing fierce winter. City volunteers have provided emergency cash for 3 seriously affected residents.
Wish you get better and better. With the care of village leaders and kind-hearted people, your life will improve. Wish you good health.
City volunteers have overcome the long distance to travel into the mountainous region and deliver love and care to the people in need. In mid-August, the CZU Lightning Complex fires took place in Northern California. Tzu Chi has held a 5th distribution. They presented cash cards, daily supplies, and masks to affected residents.
After the forest fire, Tzu Chi presented cash cards to give comfort to survivors.
Having COVID twice, getting evacuated from the LUN fire, and then getting COVID again. Not being able to work, don't get beat down, just try and stay strong.
Her actions are moving as this laundry worker, Pamana, donated the money she had saved into a bamboo coin bank to do good deeds. The handmade cards presented with the supplies are from a Northern California Zhangkeng, as his paper crane brings a special blessing and spiritual healing.
Hope and encouragement to find the strength to get through this difficult time. That's why I wanted to make cards with heartwarming and motivating messages for them.
The letters and the things that you gave to me, oh my gosh, just so it's really touching, and it adds to the feeling of being taken care of and being helped and loved by the community.
After the disaster, many realize how precious life is.
I believe in the 4 noble truths. Like all suffering comes from attachment. And what better experience do I have now, losing everything, to see how attached I am, to see how much suffering there is in me. And that actually, helped me, get past the pain.
I'm a very social justice-y kind of person. I like to do things that make a difference. So I'm actually curious about your foundation, and I'm going to read more about it when I get home.
Although it's almost impossible to rebuild the community and lives have been disturbed by the disaster, the love from Tzu Chi accompanies fire survivors as they move on.
City volunteers in Vietnam have held aid distributions in Tra Vinh province, helping 500 families. Some residents went home to get their food coin banks in order to make a donation. While they're not financially well off, they still save a little each day to reciprocate Tzu Chi's assistance. As COVID-19 continues to pose a threat, Tzu Chi's relief distribution in Vietnam also continues. A Tzu Chi volunteer couple has donated 500 bags of rice. The volunteers keep in mind the needs of the residents.
I will work hard to raise funds so I can continue to carry out Tzu Chi's work and help the residents rise above poverty.
Some scholarship recipients have turned into volunteers.
I feel very fortunate that I'm able to dedicate my time and efforts to help out.
Volunteers explain the meaning behind the bamboo coin banks they're giving out.
I heard the volunteers talk about the Tzu Chi's bamboo bank era, so I hurried home to get the bamboo coin bank. I am old and cannot earn money. I gave the bamboo coin bank to my grandchild and give him $1 to $3 NT a day so he can save it in the coin bank to do good deeds.
At the distribution, volunteers also promote vegetarianism.
To speed up the pig raising process, the pig farmers will use ribtopamine. It is really bad for human health. Everyone should cut down on consumption of meat.
Eat vegetarian food makes me more at ease. Going meatless can protect the environment. We also do not have to kill animals.
Facing the threat of the pandemic, residents are learning about the benefits of vegetarianism. Since June of this year, rains have continued causing floods throughout China. Wangjiaba town in Anhui province is one of the most severely affected areas. City volunteers have distributed supplies in September, and more than 1,000 families received help. 1 month later, volunteers held one last distribution for 815 families.
1 month after the previous distribution, Tzu Chi volunteers came to Wangjiaba town again. The first thing to do is to repair this temporary road.
A road was paid for this aid distribution, but after more than a month, this road is pitted. When some elders walk past this road, there may be the risk of falling, so the mayor found an excavator driver to come over and help us repair the road.
The newly reconstructed gymnasium, which has a large space, is the best place for distribution. More than 800 packages of supplies, including food and daily necessities, are necessary after the disaster.
Our crops this year are all flooded. The rice can't be harvested. As the bottom is all soaked, only a little on top is available. So the supplies are very important.
There are many people in red vests at the venue. They are a team of volunteers composed of local residents. They are also the affected residents who are willing to let go of their pain and be the best support for Tzu Chi volunteers.
Whoever knows this event is willing to join in. There are almost 20 people helping the distribution and transporting the rice at the back. They are all very happy. I asked them if they feel tired. They said no, and even if they are tired, they were quite happy to be participating.
It is so far for you to bring supplies to Funan for us. As Funan people, we should thank you and are willing to come to learn from you.
Affinity between people is built as the flood recedes. The role of reconstructions relies on each other's cooperation and will not be done alone.
To care for rural villagers, Changsha Tzu Chi volunteers have been visiting a village in Lianhua County every month since 2018. In the beginning, volunteers started by promoting recycling. Now they have added charity visits and teaching local children Jingsi aphorisms.
To care for rural villagers, Changsha Tzu Chi volunteers pay regular visits to Wuchang village in Lianhua County, Jiangxi. When the familiar volunteers in the blue and white uniform arrived, Every villager greeted them warmly, and the children also mingled with them happily. In this caring trip, volunteers focused on teaching the villagers Jinxi aphorism, and the local volunteer Xia Yirong took the initiative to be a lecturer.
Your heart must be in line with kids. Let him feel our love and our trustworthiness. Lively children can calm down, while the silent children can also release their inherent character. They can boldly show their language ability.
The game is funny and the lessons are funny too.
We also want to organize such an event in the village, but we may not have such an experience and we don't know how to do it. It is very good for you to come here to host this kind of instructional and entertaining class, and the kids are very happy.
The spirit of filial piety was also instilled through the game, benefiting both parents and children.
I think that Jinxi aphorism have planted the seeds of kindness and beauty in the children of Wuchang village. Today, 7 children from Yanbei village also came here. Their volunteers also hope that we can go Yanbei village to motivate their children to do these parent-child activities together.
This activity should be held more often, that is, in any of our villages. We can organize some activities for the children and parents to interact with each other so as to enhance their parent and child relationship, also to teach the children to bear a grateful heart.
Driven by Tzu Chi volunteers, the cycle of love and kindness has already been rooted in this small and simple rural village.
There are less than 500 leopard cats in Taiwan, and if they're not well protected, they're very likely to disappear within 10 years. However, the development of the solar panel industry has left many mountainous and agricultural lands to become developed, which affects their habitat. The tug of war between sustainable energy development and ecological conservation is a challenging battle.
Last year, they were planting rice and receiving fallow subsidies. Then this year, they were all leveled up and covered with solar panels.
Just like a razor, scrape off your entire hillside.
Because of the government's policy, these places can also be used for solar panels. But because of the issue involving the leopard cat, there was a conflict between the two sides.
Compare the previous appearance of these photoelectric fields from Google Maps. At least before last year, their original appearance was primitive forest, farmland, and terraced fields. Who is it that made the door open?
The strange thing about photoelectric policy is that it can only do EIA in wetlands. That is, the specifications of EIA are not standardized at all. Even if it's more than 2 hectares, the District Committee of the Central Ministry of the Interior will review these cases. It doesn't need to go through an EIA.
The Miaoli County government passed the leopard cat conservation ordinance at the end of 2019, but the binding force is quite limited.
The leopard cat ordinance is only limited to the development activities of the public sector. There's no way to restrict private development. This also highlights the fact that the leopard cat ordinance is in fact very insufficient.
Why suddenly there are such a large number of solar panel applications coming in at the same time? Miaoli's shallow mountainous areas are placed that overlaps with the leopard cat habitat. When we began to notice this, there were already more than 100 different areas or 100 hectares of habitat that has been lost by the leopard cat.
Due to its relatively late economic development, Miaoli retains many primitive mountain forests which have a rich ecological diversity. The leopard cat is just one species which represents the health of many other species.
These so-called umbrella species are ones which have strong survivability. The range of activities in a day may cover hundreds of hectares or a few mountains. If there are no leopard cats here, it means that other species with weaker survivability will disappear.
Now in this area, we not only see the leopard cat, but the crab-eating mongoose, civets, fairy pita, and the gray-faced buzzard eagle, which uses it as an important migration route. If this hillside is cleared, it is actually a really terrible thing.
The reason why Miaoli will explode with development this time is mainly due to this ecological treasure. It is nicknamed Tian Tie Tian, Because of the rare species here, in order to protect this farmland, private groups have long rented the land for eco-friendly agriculture that does not spray pesticides.
I just said that the leopard cat can run 100 of hectares in a day, and it should pass by here often.
This large area of shallow mountain surrounds the valley is owned by a local public enterprise. News of the photoelectric industry showing interest in the area means that leases for 1 hectare of farmland for 20 years can earn annual income of about $12,000 US.
The beautiful scenery in our Tongxiao Fulong has been lost. Now when you have photoelectricity, our place with good mountains, good water and good scenery have been all lost as the mountains have been clear-cut.
Under the pressure of public opinion, the Council of Agriculture reached a consensus with the photovoltaic industry on September 25th. Now it will recommend only unfavorable forest conditions and unfavorable arable land to the Executive Yuan for the development of the photovoltaic industry on special zones of agricultural land. However, those who care about leopard cats and environmental conservation are still worried.
Taiwan's leopard cats may not be seen within the next 10 years. So what do we want? Leopard cats are some energy sustainability issues. I think these are two things that can be combined and discussed together.
These solar panel makers have applied for so many cases. We hope that in the end they can give us some of these cases, which we have listed as important to the ecology. We hope that they show more some willingness to withdraw from some of these cases.
Land does not have to be developed to be valuable. Our willingness to let the mountains and forests remain the natural habitat for the leopard cat for future generations may actually lead to the conservation of mankind in the long run.
Tzu Chi's recycling station is not just about environmental conservation, but it's also a place where people come for spiritual support. In today's story, we meet 2 volunteers from Taichung's DaAi Recycling Education Station.
It's Yu Jisong's first day back at the recycling station, and he can't wait to get right to work. Sitting at the small table to remove the caps, he focuses on his task at hand, forgetting about his sickness.
The left side of my lung wasn't good, so the doctor removed it.
He had surgery in January of this year, and now that he's left with a functioning right lung, many people have asked him to take it easy. But he says after his new nap, he's going to come right back.
I think his spirit is really worth us copying.
It's not what Tzu Chi is doing for me, but that I need Tzu Chi.
The recycling station can be seen as a place for these volunteers to recharge spiritually. As on the outside, it may look like the volunteers are the ones giving, but in honesty, it's them who have received the most rewards.
Things that are broken can be fixed by him.
At this recycling station, Li Wengui has a small repair station. Known as MacGyver around these parts, when broken electronics are passed through his hands, they come back alive. His handmade tool makes him look like he's a doctor giving the electronic a shot. There is actually a touching story of why he's here.
I tell my wife through prayers each day and report to her what I did today.
Before his wife passed away, she had hoped he would go to the recycling station to be a volunteer, but he never saw the need to do so. Now that his wife is gone, he suddenly remembered her wish and fulfilled it. It is also here that he sheds emotional tears.
In my life, I don't think I've ever been applauded for doing something, and by coming here, I've received much praise.
Regrets and accomplishments are two sides to the same coin, but what is for sure is that the giving spirit of the volunteers will never stop.
A recycling station adjacent to the Jingsi Hall in Keelung is more than a place for recycling, but a home to these old bodhisattvas. Many retired people make new friends through recycling.
This space is created by 5 tents. This is the Keelung Jingsi Hall. No matter the weather, a group of volunteers are attracted here daily.
I will be here by 7:30 in the morning. And firstly, I will put the sign-in sheet and prepare the blood pressure list. I will also prepare the lunch boxes for when the volunteers come.
83-year-old Ling Shui reports into the recycling station on a daily basis. She told us that recycling has improved her body.
When I wake up, I think of coming here. Recycling makes me happy, and I think my body has improved. I'm quite old now, and I can do recycling for some more years. Since I'm old, I work harder.
80-year-old Yang Jingzuo is focused while sorting recyclables. Any plastic bag he touches is immediately sorted by category.
People say that the Dharma giving, money giving, and calmness giving, recycling is a type of calmness giving. Doing recycling, I don't really think about merits, but the labor involved with it is beneficial to our body.
Recycling volunteer Liu Huiji just retired from a security job 3 months ago. He was originally passionate about sports, but now he found a balance in life at the recycling station.
Now, when we come here, everyone does sorting well, so I think that on the matter of time, it's very fulfilling.
The recycling station becomes a second home as retired people found a place of belonging here. In their later years, recycling volunteers live out a fulfilling life.
我们也跟菩萨讲说，这里是开放的，大门是开的，你什么时候要来，随时你都可以来。只要你来这里有工作你就做，做什么都没关系，不一定要做多久，都是 OK 的。
The Yancheng Recycling Station in Kaohsiung has been established for 15 years. Many silver hair volunteers have been doing recycling here. They have all lived out the value of their lives.
Looking from outside the recycling station, behind the high-piled cardboard boxes, there are many people doing recycling already. The long and narrow space of the recycling station is filled with volunteers who are busy in sorting recyclables. Many of them are already aged.
Seeing so many people are doing happily, so I came.
I came here to do recycling soon after it was set up. I started from the beginning until now. I think that as long as I am able to do it, I will do it.
The Yancheng Recycling Education Station has been established for 15 years. Many elders have contributed their efforts here. Tzu Chi volunteers specially expressed their gratitude on the 15th anniversary celebration. This recycling station was originally donated by Tzu Chi volunteer Yan Zijie.
I was going to ask the National Property Administration to mark it out. After bidding, I would buy the surrounding lands. But I think walking the Bodhisattva path is more important. No matter how rich you are, you'll return to the original point someday.
The volunteer has donated a site for bodhisattvas to gather and cultivate wisdom and blessings. The elders gave of themselves at the recycling station, doing their best to protect the earth.
In Malaysia, Selangyong UNHCR TC Education Center has been teaching Jingsi aphorisms since 2017. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.